earlier style loom, the two pegs.
Right.
So much earlier, then eventually it evolved into.
Those
yeah.
styles, I will be honest, those style of looms are probably not medieval at all. They just do a really good job of providing take-up. It's a place where the fiber is stored until you move it to the next position. This kind of thing is done at lap size. During the Middle Ages, it would have been two uprights. It would have been a piece of furniture. It would have been two uprights this far apart or more. You sat, it would be this high, that you would sit next to.
That makes sense. And then you have the one that you can tie around your waist, right?
The back
That gets to be annoying so fast,
Well, because you have to find a spot for it.
and then you're tied to the doorknob.
Yeah.
So having it set up on two posts with a rail in between them at the bottom meant that you could walk away from it when your kids started crying or the pot started boiling over or the husband got home from the
Not trapped
field.
anywhere.
You're not trapped to it. This is just a really portable way to do it for a demo.
Definitely.
Because especially with a warp-plated loom, it would have been much larger leaning up against the
Yeah,
wall.
that would stay
so
home.
everything. Yep.
But this will display
See, that's nice for someone who also.
Okay, so you're just pushing your whole pattern back.
I'm just pushing, I'm working the twist out of it so I can turn the
The
card.
reason why
Oh,
I got
okay.
the spinning wheel that
Yeah.
the
The
pedals falls
castle.
out.
Yes. The castle.
Because
there's so much.
tablet weaving creates twist.
What do you make?
Yeah, this is the boring part. Tablet weaving makes narrow bands. So straps, belts, trim. It can be used to
Like you
make
can see it
the
on the edge of her
Oh,
cap.
that's a real, okay.
it can be used to make the header for a warp weighted loom piece. Because if I were to take my, where's my weft? If I were to take this and run it all the way over there and come back with it as a supplemental weft and create a gigantic fringe that's 15 feet long and then turn the whole thing and tie it to the top beam of the warp weighted loom, the tablet weaving spaces all of those threads out neatly into so it can be used to. And then when you start weaving on the warp weighted loom with that, your border is
style of braiding,
already there,
cording, right?
so it can be used for that.
We're really good at this. We'll use multiple colors and also be able to do some patterns in them. I've not that experience yet.
So,
You'll also
would you like to see what the cards do, how this works?
Right? So you got two going one way,
So
two
you
going
gotta
the
give me
other.
just a second, and I've almost got this far enough.
So they can do really intricate stuff. And you
Weaving,
use with
as you know, involves thread going up and down, and then down and up, going the other direction.
thread to make this a bit thicker.
And you can either do that the hard way, like with the old weaving loops into pot holders where you take a long hook and you weave it through and then you pull the loop through. Or you can get hold of your warp threads and pull half of them up and throw your shuttle and let them down and pull the other half up or pull down, depends on what kind of loom you've got. Or that, like that one where I can pull the threads forward or drop them back. But with tablet weaving, these are my heddles. Every card, there we go. Every card has 4 threads going through it. There are patterns that use only 2 threads. At the corners, there are patterns where there are threads in 3 holes, but we're not going to talk about that. So right now, we're going to talk about a very traditional 4-hole pattern. 1 thread through each hole. They go through the card the same direction. This sounds weird, but it makes sense, okay? They go through the card the same direction. I don't have any threads coming around and going this way through the card. They all have to go through the card the same way so that you can turn the cards, because otherwise you can't turn the card if you mix that up. So you pass the weft, and then you turn the cards. For purpose of this, I'm going to turn all of them in the same direction. You can turn individual cards in opposite directions as part of the pattern. But for right now, just to show you this, I'm going to turn the cards all the same direction.
If I say it out loud, maybe I'll.
The threads that are in the hole that's positioned here, I'm going to turn it this way. Those threads are all going to get pulled down, dragged down. This hole's going to move to here and take the thread with it up. So there's your up down. This hole is going to move to here. That thread's going to stay on top. This hole's going to move to here. That thread's going to stay on the bottom for this quarter turn of the card. So if you watch, there's the shed. And now I'm going to turn the cards. And clear the shed. And we've got a new shed, and those threads have either changed position or not changed position, as I showed you. I'm going to tighten my weft. Lost that shuttle again. There we go. And I'm going to pass it back through. You have to leave that little loop, it makes it easier. And then I'm going to turn them all again. And the thread that moved from here to here and stayed on top is now going to be pulled down. The thread that moved from this position to this position and stayed on the bottom is now going to be moved up. This thread's going to stay on top, that thread's going to stay on bottom. We're going to do it again.
That's so smart.
I'm going to make sure, this is a little, the tension's a little loose, so I've got to poke at it some. I want to make sure that my shed is clear. A card hung up there a little bit. There's my shed. And now I can tighten that, that left thread. Come on, kids. Tighten up. All right.
Do you ever do a full turn instead of a quarter turn?
No, and I'm going to show you why in a second. Because it would do some interesting things. I mean, there's nothing that says that you couldn't, but I never have, because I've never done a weave that requires that. So I'm going to do that one more time that way. Clear the shed again. I'm going to show you one more thing, another thing that's happening, because this is a really important part of tablet weaving. But I'm going to turn the loom around because it's easier to see. And again, I'm going to turn the cards. When I say I'm turning them towards the weaving. All right. So I'm going to turn this surface.
Actually, I haven't seen him yet,
so that it's in this position.
Next, I want to see what he's got.
So this edge is going to move to here. But if I turn it out like this so that you can see it, when I do that, you can see that all of the threads are doing a quarter turn twist.
I do primarily leather work.
So when I turn the whole deck,
What I'm hoping to do.
all 4 threads in each of those cards is doing a quarter turn twist around itself.
Like this, right where that's a leather.
And you're getting a cord. Back here, there's no weft thread stitching it together. So you can see that I've got a 4-strand cord from each card.
So the lid is attached, right? So you pull down.
In a lot of ways, what I'm doing
Stuff like that. It's like, oh, I can make my own.
is I'm making a whole bunch of 4-strand cords, and I'm stitching them together side to side every quarter turn of the card.
And I remember doing
What that gives is a weave face
exactly right.
where you can't see the weft except at the edges where it goes through, because it's always buried inside of that.
There's also, I
It's
don't know if you've got any,
invisible.
but they also make.
So this is what they call a warp face structure. You don't see the weft.
Yeah, well, those are really
See the weft. You can see the warp and weft. It's a tabby weave. You can see the threads that go over
I
under. You
have
can
friends
see
of
the
mine who
threads
said, oh, I'll show you how to do
run
it.
at right
It's like,
angles
I'll
to
stick
it.
with a
You can
single
see the
female
warp and
thing.
weft.
Yeah.
In tablet weaving, you cannot see the weft thread except at the edge or when you change direction. And that's why you turn it a quarter turn at a time, is that you want that cord structure to be stitched together every quarter turn. If I turned it a full turn, I would have a gap,
That's exactly right.
where I've got a short length of cord
What does this implement here?
instead of a hard woven structure. I'm not saying that you can't do it. I'm saying it would change the structure of the weave dramatically when you did it.